good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for coming here. My name is Kristen Swift. I am the programs person for the Council PTA. If you don't know what the Council PTA is, it is the group kind of over all the other PTAs of the 5 schools. And we haven't done very many of these talks in the past, but we decided we would try and do some talks that are relevant for the entire district. Things that maybe your school wouldn't be doing necessarily, but are very interesting for everybody to know. So Dr. Yantz came back to me with the idea to do one about food and nutrition. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, because I don't know about you, but my son, ever since school meals have become free, only eats at the school. They used to bring food from home. It does not ever happen anymore because my kids always like hot food. So there we go. So now it's going to be nice to know what they're eating that they don't tell me about and how it all works. So I'm very excited about this evening. I am going to rename myself to Questions Kristen. And so if you have questions that as we go along, please feel free to put them in the chat to me. And at the end, once Jenifer's done with everything, we will answer your questions. So let me officially introduce Jenifer to you. So South Pasadena Unified School District's Director of Food and Nutrition, Jenifer Smith, joined the district in 2021 after working in various food service positions with Upland Unified and Covina Valley School Districts. She attended Boise State for her bachelor's in public health. Her experience prior to school food was as a senior general manager at the Old Spaghetti Factory, training managers for Southern California, and general manager for Islands Restaurants, where she assisted with menu tasting and development. Ms. Smith believes that individuals who work in school food service and nutrition have a special responsibility, ensuring that students are well nourished, which enables them to grow and learn. So I am now going to turn it over to Ms. Smith. Thank you so much for being here to inform us all.
Welcome. This is what I look like when I take a photo that I'm dressed nice for. Today is after being in the freezer and working breakfast at Monterey Hills. So here I am today. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. These are all my introductory items that you already went over. But also in addition, I have served on the executive board for Southern California Nutrition Association, and I'm also on the board of directors for our co-op, which utilizes our entitlement funds. I'm grateful for everyone for coming today. I know everyone has busy schedules, so thank you for taking time to come and visit with me this evening. And I am humbled by everyone's curiosity and what it is that we do every day. My goal this evening is to offer some school food facts that will give insights into what goes into our nutrition program. We do have some topics here that we'll cover: who we serve, who we are, how we involve our students, where does our food come from, nutritional guidelines, regulations and requirements, smart snacks, and how we stand out. So I'd like to start off with one of the things that's most asked about is for our part of the nutrition program is, what is universal meals? How does that work? So during the pandemic, universal meals was started off by the federal government. So they fund the program that provided meals for all children under 18. So these were the days when parents would drive through the parking lot and we would throw 5 days of lunch, 5 days of breakfast into their trunk and send them on their way. That way we were able to still provide food to our students, even though they weren't at school. So when we returned to in-person instruction, the federal government decided that now everyone could go back to regular operations. Well, the state of California decided that they would continue universal meals. And so the state of California now reimburses us for all compliant meals that are served. So then that makes it a little bit difficult for people sometimes, because our meal application is now a benefit application, because the federal government now, for those families that are qualified, they pay us for the meals that those students eat, which the state really likes, because and then they're not paying for that part, those students' meals, the federal government is. The meals are still free to everyone, but when you're qualified for federal government programs, you also qualify for other benefits, like I was saying. The daycare program through ELOP, testing and college app fee waivers, internet providers also do provide discounts. And then our schools receive funding for the federal programs for special services and other services for our students with needs. We serve nearly 5,000 meals per day and 800,000 meals per school year. We Somebody asked like when we're not serving, and I was like, well, Saturdays and Sundays. We serve all year long. So we serve all of our schools, of course, and then Elmancer. We serve their K through 12 program as well as their early education program. We serve Westmoreland. We serve summer school to for SPUSD. We do the summer sports camps. We do catering for our staff for events and training sessions for our administration as well as our school sites. We do the Right at School Smart Snacks. And under here, you have also our EDC, the ELOP program, before school care. We do provide snacks for them as well. And we also support all of our students in different fundraisers and different events. For homecoming, our refrigerator became the homecoming refrigerator, and all the students come in and bring all of their food and fill up the refrigerator. For the band event, we do uh, make spaghetti dinner for the band. I believe it's called Band Together. We make over 400 plates of pasta for that program as well. And so we do support all of them and what they do. And there is a awesome group of people that take care of all of these programs. There are food service professionals. They are all required to have a food handler's card. They're trained yearly in food safety, customer service, operations, and nutrition. These are actually guidelines that you have to have a certain amount of hours, and then I do have to report that to the CDE, those hours that they're working. They must adhere to all of our guidelines for subgroups, scratch cooking, offer versus serve, and they are accountable to the health department for food and safety and kitchen cleanliness. So the health department will come around and make their findings, and we're responsible to make sure we have great health department visits. We also partner with our custodial staff. We partner with our aides, office staff, and our health clerks to make sure that we are able to meet all the needs of our students. These hardworking people start very early in the morning. About 5:30 in the morning, there's someone here receiving orders, making sure that all the food comes in and that we're able to feed those nutritious meals to the kids. If your kids are watching, I'm sure they recognize their school lunch person that helps them, especially the girl guys. Those are the most popular guys. They're the ones who are out there making sure that they get the food that they need. I'd like to share a little story that a little snippet of an email that I got from one of the teachers at the beginning of the school year. He said, I have been helping my second graders get their brunch and lunch since the first day of school. During this time, I have the opportunity to watch the team as they worked. Their incredible patience when faced with tech problems, crying, and puzzled students, and spilled food is inspiring. Through it all, they are kind and gentle with our students. I am extremely grateful for this great team of people who work very hard every day to make sure that our students get the food that they need. It's an awesome group of people. Our high school staff, though, doesn't do it by themselves. We have 18 student workers that work for us in the high school, and they run the computers at the lunch line. They serve nearly 800 students in 15 to 20 minutes at lunch and 500 meals in 10 minutes at brunch. They are very fast on the computers. I go out there and I think I'm helping them, but they're like, oh my gosh, they're so patient with me as I'm trying to find the buttons, and they are very fast. They're very good at their jobs. Part of the process is they um, get job experience by working in the cafeteria. They have to complete an application. They go through the interview process. They have reference checks. They have to get a work permit, and they have to maintain good grades. They gain work experience with working with others, and they earn their spending money. A lot of our students are AP students. They have sports programs that they do after school. I have dance girls that are work for us here at brunch. All of those students are involved in all aspects of their high school experience, but they're still able to have a job and earn a little bit of spending money and be able to gain that experience for when they move to college and they need to get a job. So they also are great at providing us ideas for new menu items from what they're getting from feedback from their peers. They also get feedback about the food and they let us know, like, hey, this was really good, or hey, they didn't really like this one. So they really let us know what's going on with the heartbeat of the school. One of the great things that we were able to do was we had one of our art students who'd worked for us for the 3 years that I was here with him. And he really wanted to spruce up our express area. And so him and some art students over the summer came in and they completely redid the Tiger Express. And so they changed the background of it was just plain orange and there was some artwork on the wall, but they went through, as you can see, it was just plain white wall and they put all the fruit on the wall. And they said, okay, now we have all the fruit on the wall. How can we make this better for our, like the food? Like, what can we do in here? Because this is really kind of nobody comes over here anymore. What can we put in here? So we started with some fruit and yogurt parfaits, and we put some salads in there, and then we have the bistro box with the hummus and the carrots and the wheat crackers and the cheese cubes, and we have a smoothies in there, and then we have the famous pesto turkey wrap that they all fight for. And so we really revamped this area and made it revitalized, and these students were very involved in doing that. And it is a very busy station now. Our girl Bonnie is in there and she makes a ton of food every day. And she's like, I think I need to make 10 more tomorrow because there's still, that's all gone. So this is a great experience that we shared with our students and getting them involved with the food that they eat and where they eat it. And it was a great experience for all of us. Our students have let me click to the next one here. Our students have many choices where to go to eat. Like our kids are much more mobile like than when I was in school. They can go all over the place. They can Uber Eats food to themselves. They can get food anywhere. And so one of the things that I found that was really interesting is what restaurant chain do we think has the most stores in the entire world? Like in the whole world. I know some guesses are happening right now that I cannot hear. If you said McDonald's or Starbucks, you're close. How many schools and institutions do you think are served? How many school institutions serve school lunches across the United States, just in the US? 95,000 schools and institutions serve breakfast and lunch across the entire United States, and there are only 45,000 McDonald's in the entire world. Now, McDonald's does serve 2.5 billion sandwiches per year, and mostly Big Macs, because I found out from my research. But the school nutrition program serves 7.1 billion meals annually to our students across the United States. So we are the biggest restaurant chain in the United States. That's important because we have partnerships with lots of trusted brands across by like Tyson, Land O'Lakes, Pepperidge Farms. There's a ton of them. And we are able to leverage that volume in order to get them to make products that comply with the USDA guidelines. So when we have guidelines regarding salt, when we have guidelines regarding sugar, we have the new guideline that just came out regarding the food coloring in foods. They will redo their recipes and they will make product lines just for us in the school food industry. And so they have to come to the USDA with a seal of approval that says, I'm certified, I comply with the USDA guidelines. Here's my certification that my whole grain, here's my certification that I provide a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of grains per product. And so it's really great for us to be able to use those brands and be able to provide great food that the kids are used to eating, maybe at home or maybe out in the world out there. We're able to provide those items to them. And we also get the benefit of having food shows. So they want to show us all the new food that they've made. So we do get to taste items, we do get to see what's coming out. And we do have some specialty brands that are only do school food. And those are really great staple items that we are able to use. Our produce is DoD, which is the Department of Defense. So they're contracted out with produce companies locally that are able to get us local produce. They're able to get us organic produce, and anytime that we can, we do order and provide local and organic produce to our students. The way we receive a lot of our funding is our entitlement funds, and that's based on our previous year's meal counts. So as we do more meals, then we receive more money and vice versa. So we keep talking about guidelines. So where do these guidelines come from? Why do we have all these guidelines? So in 1946 is when the school nutrition program started, with President Truman signing the National School Lunch Act. And shortly after that, they did sign the School Breakfast Act. But the reason for that, because there was malnutrition amongst a lot of young adults in the United States. And they also found that there was a lot of agriculture that wasn't being utilized. So you're trying to figure out how to get all this food to the people that need it. And so that's why they started the National School Lunch Act. And as time went on, the pendulum kind of swung the other way. And we started seeing a rise in obesity in around 2010. So that's when we initiated the changes that affected our nutritional standards. And as we've gone over time, those standards have become stricter and stricter and stricter. So according to the CDC, now in 22-23, we had 1 in 5 children are overweight or obese in the United States. So even with these strict guidelines, our US children are still struggling. So of course, my guidelines get stricter. So salt is one of the things that is a guideline that is pretty strict for us. So, how many milligrams of sodium do you think are allowed in an average per day in fourth graders, students' entire lunch? With the average salt that we're allowed. I know for myself, personally, I like to be like one of those Food Network stars that like puts all the salt all over my food. None of them would make it in our kitchens. We would never be able to serve any of their food. So a little over a quarter of a teaspoon of salt on average is allowed in a student's lunch for K through 5. So that is about a little bigger than the size of a pea. It's 935 milligrams. So in order to make a meal compliant, we do have to have that much sodium on average. What's nice about the guidelines is that it's a balance. We do have a guideline for everything. We have a guideline for our calories, our grains, our meats, our proteins, our fluid milk that we have to offer every single day, our max calories, our minimum calories, how much added sugar, everything is regulated. So it's nice that it's a balance. So that way we're able to teach our kids to balance how they eat. So maybe one day we have something that's a little more sweet. We get crackers on Wednesdays at the elementary schools. It's a very fun day. But it's only once a week. And then we'll have a drumstick or chicken nuggets. Those are going to have a little bit more salt in that breading, but then another day we'll have a lot lower salt. So that way we make that balance and we're able to provide that balance to our students. And sometimes your kid will say, hey, that pizza, that's always the thing is the pizza. Is why does the pizza not taste like what it is normally when you go to Pizza Hut? Well, Pizza Hut, we have a contract with them. We have whole grain crust, we have reduced fat cheese, lower sodium marinara, and the pepperoni is made from turkey. And so that's not going to taste the same as what you get from when you go normally and just order a pizza from Pizza Hut, because we have to be able to fit that pizza into our guidelines in order to be able to serve that to the students. That's the one thing the middle schoolers always find me, and they want Takis and they want to know if we can do different pizza. I have tried many different pizza brands to try to find the good one, and I think we finally got Wild Mike seems to be the winner. That's the real pizza, they say. So we will continue with the Wild Mikes. So subgroups are a fun game that we play when we do the puzzle of how to put together a menu. So vegetable subgroups are these five that you see. So you have other beans and legumes, starches, dark greens, and red orange. So every day we have to offer a full cup of vegetable and a full cup of fruit, and they're offered in a half cup increment. So it seems easy. You have 5 days of the week and you have five subgroups, just serve it. Well, you have to have two of each. And then I got to try to figure out what the kids are going to eat and what they're not going to eat. And so I know that you're probably looking at this chart and thinking about your kids at home, that they're probably not going to eat probably four of these things that are on the screen right now. Same for me. I'm not a super cucumber fan, but we do serve it and we have lots of kids that like it. Um, so the way that our system works here in South Pass is we work on a system called offer versus serve. So we offer food choices to to the children that they're more likely to eat and the food items they prefer rather than throwing out their food. It gives the students ability to decline foods they do not like. They get to try new things and they get to take items that they'll enjoy. So in elementary school, you can do what's called serve, which you give them all five meal components and you say, this is your lunch and send them on their way. But at Pasadena, for our elementary students, we let them make choices. We let them pick the meal components that they want to eat. The thing is, though, is everybody has to take a fruit or a vegetable in order to get their meal for free. In order for it to be compliant, it has to have a fruit or a vegetable. So that's where the struggle lies a little bit. So we try to put out most of the things that they really like to eat so that they will eat them. So for brunch, they have to take three meal components. One of the items must be a half cup of fruit, and 2 days a week, we'll offer juice. And then for lunch, same thing. And then they have to take a half a cup of fruit or vegetable. So again, here's this cucumber sitting here that I don't want to eat. So what happens to that cucumber? Well, we have a share box. And so those items that the kids may or may not eat go to the share box. So then at the end of the day, what do we do with that food? Well, students may take what they think they will eat, or they may save it for later for a snack. So someone who maybe brought their lunch and sees that there's a banana or an apple or maybe a bag of Cheez-Its in there, they are welcome to take that food. Any student can take whatever they'd like. A lot of times at lunch too, it fills up a little bit at brunch, but at lunch, a lot of the kids will come and pick something else that they want to take with them. Bananas go pretty quickly, especially here at the high school. Um, Students may use the sherbin rather than throwing food away. We hate to see food go in the trash. That's perfectly good food. Some of the non-perishable items are donated back to our program. And then the rest of the items were donated to a local program for the unhoused. So we do have someone who comes to the site twice a week and picks up food and takes it to a local church and also directly to the homeless. The only caveat is adults may not eat food from the student's plate or take items from the share bin. That those items are federally and state funded and are intended for our students only. And all of that stuff I do have to track. And I do have an auditor from the city who comes, and she does come and check how many pounds of stuff we have donated. And they do, the CDE also audits me as well. And I have to keep track of all the food at all times. Smart snacks are fun. Our ASB here at the high school does an awesome job with smart snacks. The two girls that are at the office are super cute, and they bring me all their new stuff that they want to serve. And they're like, Miss Jen, is this smart snack compliant? And then we go and put it in the calculator. And then one time it said no, and they were so sad because they really wanted this like cocoa crunchy something bar, and they were so sad that it was not compliant. They were like, really? We ran it again. It still was not compliant. They have their little pictures in their little book, and they do a great job with that here at the high school. So, smart stocks are items that are sold at school during school time or 30 minutes after school. And they can't be the same thing as what the cafeteria is serving. They do have restrictions that start with the food standards. Nothing can be fried, of course. And then your first ingredient must be one of the five meal components, either fruit, dairy, vegetable, or whole grain. Your nutrition standards, 200 milligrams of sodium or less, 200 calories or less, and no more than 35% sugar by weight. And then, of course, fat, 35% less from fat, and less than 10% from saturated fat. So some things that make us stand out as far as our food and nutrition services is I started off was gifted a base of great recipes and that we use spices and seasoning in order to give our food great flavor. And we also do have a variety of different flavors that we serve. So we go from one end all the way to the other. Most schools will have a cycle menu. We have a cycle menu that repeats all the favorite items, and then we add in a variety of meals. Add in our seasonal meals, our fruits, our vegetables. We do also try to do complete meals for the students. It makes it a little easier for them. They have everything that they need all in one plate. They get a little green check mark, and that means that their meal's complete, which is great for them. I think the one thing that is awesome about the high school when they get here, the kids are very excited. I know we were talking about that earlier, is that what we have is a food bar, which is kind of like a buffet. It's like half buffet. So the kids are able to go through the line and able to put whatever ingredients they want on their meal for the day. So if they got the burrito, they're able to put their burrito together exactly how they want it. So that food bar feeds about 200 kids a day. And it is reflective, the menu is reflective of their favorite things. So, like, we call it a fake Chipotle. We have Kentucky Fried Chicken on Monday. We have our Spaghetti Factory Day where we serve the pasta with meat sauce or with Alfredo or with marinara and salad and breadsticks. We also do a scratch made chili with a baked potato. We often see teachers in this line coming through and getting their fake Panda Express on Friday as part of their meal, as part of the meal program. So that is definitely the shining place to eat in the high school. Um, because of the increased volume, we've also streamlined a lot of our operations. We've added additional cashiers, additional stations, and additional staff in order to be able to meet the need of all of our students to get them through the line fast and let them be able to socialize and eat as well. We also have hired new staff in the central kitchen to be able to help support our elementary and middle school. And we've done a lot of cooking here and that we send out to those sites. Gives us a lot more consistency with our cuts on our cantaloupe, our cucumber, our macaroni and cheese gets made here. A lot of the items that go out to those sites, it's going to be consistent because it's all made the same here at the central kitchen. So it's a fun day when we're making 1,400 portions of macaroni and cheese in a giant 40-gallon kettle that we're trying to scoop it all out of. It's quite the sight, and they do an awesome job here at the high school with that. We also do a lot of scratch cooking. The standard is 40% scratch cooking. They're really pushing us back to that. Through COVID, everything went to what we call IW, which is individually wrapped. And so we try not to do individually wrapped whenever we can. So you'll see at the elementary schools that a lot of them will not have the individually wrapped food. It is happens on occasion, but for the most part, we don't want the trash. We don't want the kids trying to like get it out. And we like to prepare the food as fresh as possible whenever we can. So that scratch cooking, as you can see, we have our tikka masala, we have our Greek meatball plate that we serve, and the favorite and the standby always want that teriyaki chicken with edamame and brown rice. And then our newest addition to the menu, which is our vegetarian lasagna. So it's lasagna on a bed of fresh chopped zucchini. And then we have our pasta Alfredo. And in the corner, you'll see the Greek salad. And I am pretty sure that's the salad that the superintendent saw at the middle school because we make it here and send it there. And he thought that they got that from Trader Joe's. And the kid was like, no, we got that in the cafeteria. So it was quite the compliment that people think that we have a salad that looks like Trader Joe's. It's actually, I think, better. So those are our meals. If you're interested in more facts, you can look them up on the USDA website. They do have them under the Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010. There's more regulations coming as well. Breakfast cereals. which we try to comply with the regulations now. I try not to wait till the last minute, till it's like the go date is when we're going to start complying, because we want to get our children used to those standards as we go. We don't want it to be like a shock. They're like, why is this different? Why does this taste like this? So we try, if it's a good idea now, why are we going to wait, a year or however long it is to already put those standards into place? So breakfast cereals, we serve are 25% or less, 25% less sugar, which gets us under that 6 grams of added sugar per dry ounce. The yogurt, no more than 12 grams of added sugar. The one thing that we're excited about is it's been a fight forever with the School Nutrition Association is getting beans, peas, and legumes to count as either protein or a vegetable. So it's nice that we're able to have those count as a protein because we're able to utilize those in order to meet the needs of our students who maybe don't eat meat. So those are a lot of our standards, a lot of guidelines. This is what I do all day. I'm like, can we do this? Nope, it has to be this. Lots of puzzles that we put together. And if anyone has questions after this that they think about, or at any time ever, definitely feel free to email me and I'd be happy to answer any questions or help or any suggestions too. I've had a couple of great suggestions from parents that have really helped us navigate through feeding our kids. Thank you.
Awesome. This is such a great presentation. I think I saw Mr. Loop's clapping for you. That was
Thank
nice.
you, Mr. Looms.
So we do have some questions. So, and again, for anybody who came a little bit late, if you have any questions, you can just chat them to me. I renamed myself Questions Kristen, and we'll go through those. And again, this is recorded, so we will put this up on all over the district. So the first question is, are those sugar/sodium limits for each item or for an entire meal?
It's for an entire meal and it's for an average for the week. So, like I said, you'll have that balance of maybe one day you'll have a little bit higher, but the next day you'll have a little bit lower. So, it's all about that balance of that balanced diet and that balance in, sometimes in real life, we'll have something that maybe is a little more, I've seen a kid with a donut or something like that. But then the next day, we can't continue that trend. We have to balance that out.
If your kid's smart, they know which days they want to eat. Okay.
Maybe.
Are there state or federal requirements for food packaging? Any focus on sustainable packaging?
Yes, we don't have any regulations per se, but we do have a focus on making sure that we're using biodegradable goods. So we actually just switched our plastic trays are biodegradable and they're also made from recycled material. So we have where we can move back from that. And in little things too, like the muffins that we serve to the elementary schools, they are prepackaged, but they don't have that cupcake wrapper that you would find on like a lot of muffins. And so we're able to eliminate trash that way. And at the high school, we put out trays, but we have a sign that says, if you don't think you need this tray, save the environment, like don't take it. Like, great. So that way and that middle school as well. Can't do that at elementary. They're trying to like keep their like food from falling out of the tray. But we do have kids who don't use a tray. So there aren't any regulations, but it is definitely encouraged. And we do our best to try to eliminate the trash.
Awesome. Awesome. What schools are served at Right at School?
All we have the
What
what's
snack?
like snacks. Actually just partnered with them and we just dropped off our first initial right at school snacks for them. And it's all of the sites, the middle school, Marengo, Arroyo Vista, and Monterey Hills. And I still have to drop off AV tomorrow. And so all of them will start with the smart snacks and all the new snacks are smart snack compliant.
And I noticed when you said smart snacks can't be fried, foods that the kids eat during the day, like you said, fried chicken. So is the fried chicken not fried?
It's not fried chicken. It's baked chicken, but it looks like fried chicken. It's
Okay,
faux. It's,
awesome.
it's off, as the kids would say, it's off brand.
Right, right. Okay, great. One parent mentioned they follow a vegetarian diet and their son often finds that by the time he gets to lunch, fifth graders have the last lunch slot. The vegetarian option has run out. Is there any way for people with dietary restrictions to have a meal set aside for them?
If you have a medical need, a medical dietary need that is a disability, then we do offer a modified menu for them. I would be interested to know which site that is, so that way we can make adjustments because they should always have both options. There's always a vegetarian option every day, and they should always have a vegetarian option from the first student they serve to the last student they serve. So if that mom or dad or a parent wants to email me, we can talk about that because there should be available to the student at the fifth grade's tough too, because you're trying to guess how many kids are going to eat what. And so sometimes it might not be a matter of running out. It may just not be on in the little basket or what have you. So it's definitely something that we can work at being better at because we should have both options available at all times.
Okay. So whoever asked that question, Paris, if you want to just write that in the chat, you're welcome to, I can say that out loud too. Um, okay, awesome. So then I'm just curious, the volume difference. Do you know what the difference is and how many students you're feeding now versus pre-guidelines that gave free lunches to everybody?
It's almost triple now. It was, yeah. The high school actually has become a more and more and more than I've ever seen. We were actually quite surprised at 800 lunches because we were doing maybe like 650. And then prior to that, maybe like 550. So it has increasingly gone up and up and up as I think to operationally, it's important to kids. They look at the line, they're like, forget it, I'll just have the bag of chips that's in my backpack. I don't want to wait in line. So I think the being able to get the line to move quickly, then we're able to get more students through, and then more students are more likely to eat because they really are social. A middle and high school, it's all the social factor.
I told myself I wouldn't talk, Jen, but you're being modest. You've made amazing modifications, and you get way a main reason why so many kids are eating is because you have streamlined the processes and you get everybody through fast. I love your modesty, but you're allowed to brag a little too.
Thank you, Dave.
For those of you who don't know, that's our assistant Dave Lubes, supporting Miss Smith, which is awesome.
I mean, we did change our operations at the middle school for brunch, and we went from serving 250 to 450 in like 2 or 3 months. So it's getting those kids food is important. And the middle school is like the Hunger Games. Like a kid literally broke his arm to get a pizza bagel. Like literally broke his arm to get a pizza bagel. So I'm like, we need to make more pizza bagels because we cannot have injured students. So we opened another pizza bagel station, and now there's pizza bagels for all. Um, but it is great to see the kids enjoy the food and the types of food. I always am looking like, what are they taking? What are they eating?
That's great. So the vegetarian question was for Monterey Hills, but they said they'd also send an email to you.
Awesome. Well, and they're really good at their counts, so that's interesting to me.
So
I more out about that.
could it be the kid, like maybe the student's not seeing it and so it doesn't ask if there's more in the back? Is that a
Um,
possibility? Should be.
Monterey Hills usually has their food out. So they're one of the bigger kitchens that has a giant countertop, and they're usually pretty good about it. So I'll have to talk to them and find out. We'll have to problem solve and make sure that we do have those available at all times.
Yeah. Maybe show your son a picture of Miss Smith and they can go find her.
I'm there right now all the time because we just got a new breakfast person there, and I have been training her and helping her. So tell them to look for me.
I love it. Okay, how much of the food is organic?
I don't really have a percentage. We do get as much organic as we can when we order our produce. So a lot of fruit that we see, apples, oranges, I've seen grapes, but it's whatever we have available. So we don't, it's not something that I can actively seek. It's what is available to us through the DoD. So it goes in waves too. I find that we'll go in and there'll be nothing organic, and then all of a sudden everything's organic. And so, just depending on what those ebbs and flows are, It varies.
Kind of like shopping at
Not really
Costco.
a straight answer, but I don't really like have one for that. There's not a certain percentage, but when it's available, we do order it.
And the meats are not ever organic, is that correct?
Uh, no.
Not, yeah, okay. And then what is the approach to food dyes, MSG, and other unnatural ingredients? And just to kind of add to that, I know you said there was a new law that we just passed about the food dyes. And I know there's been some things against Kellogg's with their food dyes, and they're one of the people you partner with. So would kind of an additional question, would Kellogg's now change for California?
They
Okay.
would change for California, and most likely, it's funny because California starts a lot of the trends. So you'll see something happen in California, and it'll start to spread to the states. Like California started universal meals. Now there's 11 other states that do universal meals. California, does lots of different things, and then we have them follow suit. So I think that you're going to see that with the dyes, that different directors that I've seen in the Nutrition Association are knowing that that's coming for others as well. As far as MSG, I can't say 100% sure, but I have not seen MSG in our food as far as MSG is concerned. And what was the other one?
Unnatural food dyes, MSG, and unnatural ingredients.
Yeah. Um, we do our best to avoid those things. I don't, I, it is what I have access to. So there's a certain amount of food that we have access to that we're able to get that falls in within, we get $1.81 to $2 to produce a meal. And so it does have to fall within those budgetary guidelines as well.
Yeah. Okay. We have one parent whose son is lactose intolerant, but there seemed to be a lot of cheese in a lot of the meals. So is there any advice that you would give them or anything that they should
Yeah,
do?
it's tough because cheese is considered a protein. So when we have an item that's vegetarian, then a lot of the times it's going to have cheese because we have to have the 1 gram of protein or 2 grams of protein, depending on the age group. And so there usually is an item without cheese that they have that's available that's for lactose intolerant, and then you would have an item that has cheese. They can always ask the site lead as well. They can ask the person that's passing out the food if they ever say that they're lactose intolerant. They usually elementary they usually would have like a soy butter sandwich or an alternative meal. But they do have to let the person that's passing out the food know if there's something not available. And they are very good about accommodating students with special needs like that.
Nice. Can you add a meat protein to daily elementary brunches and not just carbs?
Yes, if they will eat it. So twice a week we do something that is not carbs, but we do have to provide a grain. So we have to have 1 grain and 1 protein or 2 grains in order for it to be considered a meal. And so we do like a sausage biscuit sandwich, and we won't see kids coming to get brunch. They just won't eat. And that's not what we want either. So I have tried different things. We are going to be trying a hummus box that has hummus and some crackers and some carrots or celery or something to dip in. We're going to try that out for brunch actually next week, lunch next week. That's going to be our see how the kids do, because it's conference week next week for the elementaries. So since we'll be doing a lot less kids, we can bring that out and do a test and see kind of how the kids like it. We are trying to find some different options. Next month we'll have but it has cheese in it because I need the protein. So it's a breakfast quesadilla. So I'm trying that. We tried pizza bagels. They usually love pizza. We tried Hawaiian sliders. We tried this week. We did pigs in a blanket, which is a new item that we tried with them. So I have tried lots of things. If you have a suggestion, that I'd love to hear it because I can look and see if I have access to it. But I go through that gold star list. There's over 100 pages of food to choose from and different items. And I really have been trying. We actually did a PD day this last time when the kids were off, and we went over breakfast. And there is on our school nutrition website, we have access to different webinars, and we went through breakfast. And I literally collected ideas from the staff of what they thought would be a good item. They came up with overnight oats, they thought would be a good idea. They were trying to see if there was some way we could incorporate like a scrambled egg into maybe an egg sandwich. They were really trying to come up with some ideas to help be able to get some protein out there. But it's tough. They do have string cheese available. I know that's not a lot of protein, but uh, we are trying. We're working on it, because the thing is that the new regulations for breakfast will only allow a certain amount of sugar, and since a lot of those fall within, the sugar, your average is going to be thrown. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that, and I'm trying to figure out how they can make it at the site. So I am definitely working on that, and that is top of mind. But I want to also make sure that those kids are coming to eat as well.
One suggestion somebody had was a muffin tin frittata.
We did try that actually 2 weeks ago. I don't I don't know if they'll eat it. We could try. We did try that here at the high school, and they are doing breakfast burritos here at the high school. But the little guys in the elementaries, oh, they're so tough. They really are tough to get them to eat.
Yep. Yep. They want the sugar. Do you ever like sweeten with, is it better to sweeten with honey or like natural sugars, maple syrup and other sugars, or is it, I don't know the sugar
So
content.
typically we don't do honey, and we don't do at the elementaries. We don't serve any syrup. We do occasionally. We'll do for lunch, breakfast for lunch, and that's a crazy day. And we will do some syrup. But other than that, one of the first things that I did when I became director is I pulled all the syrup out of all the elementary sites, and like we'll do it's a cinnamon roll, but it doesn't have frosting on it. So I opt for things that don't have, a frosting on it, or it doesn't have a glaze on it. Apple bar that they have for lunch tomorrow actually has a full serving of fruit in the loaf of the apple loaf. So I'm literally tricking them into eating a whole serving of fruit in their breakfast. So
I
I
love it.
try to make those choices thoughtfully. And like the concha day is the crazy day. They love it. It is lower sugar, but we only do it every other week. And sometimes only once a month. And that is the big day. That is, the crazy day.
For sure. Um, I'm done with questions and I want to just thank you so much, but I also want to let everybody know that you have a great website, which I'm putting in the chat right now if anybody wants to go to. And if they want to email you, I'm also putting your email in the chat. I hope that's okay. Because you said to email you. So those are both in the chat, and they're there. I just want to put a plug out for if other programs we have going on in the district. We have a district-wide book discussion coming up for the screen time consultant that's going to be on the 21st. These are in-person book discussions in the middle school, in the lunchtime, and at the high school at the dinner time, but they're open to all elementary, middle, and high school caregivers. Reading the book, it is called a book club, but we do not actually need you to read the book if you want to just come and be part of the discussion and hear it. So please check your school newsletters for the RSVP information for that. We have that coming up. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for all of your time and putting together such a great presentation. I learned a crazy amount tonight, and I've been in the district for a while. So it was really great information. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Have a great night.
Thank